technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is James Ngo, and these are your 3:30 headlines. With the Vancouver Fringe Festival underway in Vancouver, many independent artists are given the chance to showcase their art in the form of theater. Our reporter Braden Coombs has more on how the festival's foundation of being artist-oriented has remained the same.
The Vancouver Fringe Festival provides the Lower Mainland community with an easy and accessible way to indulge in various forms of theater. Up-and-coming artists are given the chance to promote themselves and their work. Supporting local artists has been the festival's goal since the beginning, and it hasn't changed. Bruce McPherson, a head volunteer and photographer at the festival, explains how this is done.
For a $20 ticket, the Fringe Festival takes a $5 service fee. 100% of the remainder, i.e. $15, goes to the artists.
The Fringe Festival is now wrapping up, with its last show happening this weekend. Braden Coombs, BCIT News.
One man is dead after a shooting in Burnaby that investigators are calling a possible targeted attack. Police say they were called Wednesday evening to a North Burnaby neighborhood for reports of shots fired and discovered the victim had already died. They then received reports of a burning vehicle in South Burnaby 15 minutes later, and investigators are trying to determine if the two events are linked. E-bikes and scooters have become popular in the past few years. However, they are still motor-operated, making them extremely fast and sometimes dangerous. Isabella Vertone has more on this story.
E-bikes and electric scooters have been an environmentally friendly way of getting around in recent years. However, residents on the Lower Mainland say these riders go over the speed limit and don't follow road rules. Although these bikes aren't capable of matching vehicle speeds, they can be driven recklessly, according to Susie Spence, a resident of North Vancouver who lives in a neighborhood full of many schools.
And scooters, and I feel like there's a lack of knowledge of road rules, and I'm just worried one day I'm going to be phoning 911 because they just fly around the corners.
The accessibility to e-bikes has created a popular way of transportation. However, mounting concerns surrounding the safety and regulations need to be addressed. Isabella Vertone, BCIT News.
Alberta Premier Danielle Smith says that she has found common ground after her meeting with Prime Minister Mark Carney. Speaking in Edmonton, Smith says she found more common ground with the Prime Minister when she met him this week than she has in any other meeting with a Prime Minister. She says her latest meeting with the Prime Minister has inspired optimism, and he is demonstrating a real shift from the previous Justin Trudeau-led Liberals. She also took to social media, saying that although there are details to be worked out, the concerns of Albertans are finally being heard. Smith also brought up the pending Alberta teacher strike. She says teachers need to decide whether they want higher wages or more staff. It comes after the union announced educators would hit picket lines by October 6th if their demands for better wages and working conditions weren't met.
We know that with the tight budget that we have, any additional dollars for salaries ends up taking away from our ability to hire more teachers. The union asked for us to pledge to hire 1,000 new teachers a year for the next 3 years. We did, and they broke off talks.
Smith says a strike would be very disruptive for both children and their families. None of the Yukon's current cabinet ministers are running for re-election, leaving the governing Liberals with a near-empty slate. Speaker Jeremy Harper is the only sitting Liberal MLA who will try to get his seat back in the Yukon legislature. An election has yet to be called, but Yukon voters must go to the polls by November 3rd. The Liberals have been in power since 2016 and have gone through several leaders, with current Premier Mike Pemberton taking office this year. Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc says the government's new Major Projects Office will work to get construction underway on the Alto high-speed rail line within 4 years. He says the work would determine the final route for the planned high-speed rail project between Toronto and Quebec City. The 1,000-kilometer high-speed rail network would take passengers from Montreal to Toronto in just 3 hours on a train traveling up to 300 kilometers an hour. Alto was not on the list of the 5 projects referred Thursday to the Major Projects Office, but the government has listed it among others that it could be considered in the future. Spotify has been receiving backlash on their ties to AI company Helsing, making artists remove their music from the streaming platform, creating an uptick in physical media sales. Selena Teixeira has more on this story.
As a variety of artists are pulling away from Spotify, many people are wondering where they should go to listen to their favorite artists. As vinyl sales continue to skyrocket since 2023, we can only speculate about the future of Spotify. Owner of Matterhorn Records, Johnny Matter, talks about the shift.
There's no point in being on Spotify, especially as an underground artist, because you're not getting anything from it. I'm doubtful most people that maybe come across your music on there will actually go to one of your concerts or go to your website or, let's say, Bandcamp and actually buy the music in physical form. I don't think anybody's going to seek it out. I think Spotify is like the new radio.
Spotify was once seen as an easy place for bands to get noticed, but now bands don't even want to be associated with the app. Selena Teixeira, BCIT News.
The Pentagon's September 11th memorial ceremony has been moved indoors for safety purposes. Traditionally, the ceremony was near the building's memorial outside the Pentagon walls. The events were moved inside after the assassination of conservative political activist Charlie Kirk. Speaking of Kirk, the FBI has released photos of the man they believed to be the shooter who killed the conservative influencer. Images released by investigators show a man with a black shirt with what seems to be an American flag on it. He was also wearing a black or gray hat and sunglasses. The FBI is offering a $100,000 reward for any information related to the shooter. The majority of the Brazilian Supreme Court has voted to convict former President Jair Bolsonaro of attempting a coup to remain in office despite his 2022 electoral defeat. The far-right politician who governed Brazil between 2019 and 2022 was found guilty on 5 counts by 3 members of a 5-justice panel. Bolsonaro has now been sentenced to 27 years in prison. U.S. President Trump says he's very unhappy with the decision, calling Bolsonaro outstanding. That's all the news for now, but stay with me here, because we still got some sports and weather to cover. The Toronto Blue Jays have defeated the Houston Astros 6-0, winning the series. Toronto pounced early on Astros starter Christian Javier, scoring 3 runs in the first 2 innings, including a Davis Schneider home run.
Davis Schneider hits a fly ball to deep left. Trammell is back. It's gone. Schneider getting an opportunity to start against a righty today, and in his first at-bat, he hits it out.
On the pitching side, Kevin Gausman pitched an absolute gem. He threw 99 pitches in a complete game shutout, allowing just 2 hits and a walk, and tallying up 9 strikeouts. The Jays will host the Baltimore Orioles over the weekend. With the Astros' loss, the Mariners have a chance to tie Houston for the AL West Division lead. Seattle is coming off a 5-game win streak, including a sweep of the St. Louis Cardinals. The Mariners will play the Los Angeles Angels tonight at 6:40. Jose Soriano starts for the Angels, and Bryce Miller starts for the Mariners. In the NHL, the 5 players acquitted in the Hockey Canada sexual assault trial can return to the NHL when their suspensions end on December 1st. Michael McLeod, Dylan Dubé, Cal Foote, Alex Formenton, and Carter Hart are all unrestricted free agents and can sign with a team on October 15th as they wait for full reinstatement. The 5 of them were all charged with 1 count of sexual assault and pleaded not guilty when the trial opened in April. They were acquitted of all charges on July 24th after a 2-month trial in London, Ontario. Edmonton Elks draft pick Darian Newell has been given a 6-year sanction by the Canadian Centre for Ethics in Sport under its Canadian anti-doping program. Newell was suspended by the CFL on April 30th after a series of doping infractions. During the sanction period, Newell is ineligible to participate in any capacity with any sports signatory to the CADP or the World Anti-Doping Code, including training with teammates. The CFL is not a signatory to either entity. The Commanders travel to Lambeau Field to play the Green Bay Packers tonight. Both teams won last week and look to remain unbeaten. Former NFL defensive back Richard Sherman says that Jaden Daniels' legs will be the biggest challenge for Green Bay's defense, even with Micah Parsons.
It's going to be a foot race between him and Jaden, and not everybody on this defense is Micah Parsons. So there are other guys that are going to have to contend with Jaden Daniels' legs, and it's not the designed runs that concern you most. It's when everybody's pass rushing up the field, everybody's covering, everybody's backs are turned, and he takes off because nobody's open or he just sees an opening. Those are the plays that sting you the most and hurt you the most as a defense because he can create explosives when you think you got him stopped.
Kickoff is scheduled for 5:15 p.m. Jason Collins, the first openly gay NBA player and a current NBA ambassador, has undergone treatment for a brain tumor. Collins came out in 2013, becoming the first publicly gay athlete in the 4 main North American sports leagues. He retired in 2014 after a 13-year career with several teams, including the New Jersey Nets and Boston Celtics. His family sent a statement to the NBA, asking for privacy and welcoming support and prayers. A study by the Strategic Council found that 73% of Canadian youth are participating in some form of organized physical activity. The most popular physical activity is swimming, with 23% of respondents saying their kids take part in some swimming activities. The others high on the list include soccer at 20% and hockey and basketball at 10%. In weather, we should see the clouds start to clear away a little bit. Temperatures have hit 20 degrees, which should last until the evening. The night sky should be mostly clear and continue into tomorrow. That's all for now. Thank you so much for listening. Once again, I'm James Ngo, and you're listening to BCIT's The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
I would recommend this program for anyone that isn't sure what kind of job they want in media, because you learn everything from like public relations to communications to video editing, like radio, TV. So you do get a lot of experience in all the different fields in media.